as a profession, for better or worse, the teachers were very headstrong, and we put up a very good front and a very good face because we have to every day for our students. We have to show up every day for our kids.
Right.
Underlying all that, to be so disrespected by our government was very demoralizing.
Hey, fellow workers. I'm Kim Siever, and you are tuning in to episode 6, season 5 of the Alberta Worker Podcast. The Alberta Worker Podcast is a proud member of the Labour Radio Network and the Harbinger Media Network. We're broadcasting from the homeland of the Mississippi, and I am pleased to welcome today's guest, Sam Yamamoto. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Kim.
So yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started. Sam, why don't you share with us your life story, where you grew up, what family life was like, where you went to school, that sort of thing, what life was like for a younger Sam. And as well, share with us your personal labor history, first jobs, subsequent jobs, what you're doing now, and the journey you took to get there. And you can intertwine those or share them separately, but the floor is yours.
Cool. Thank you. Let's see. I'll start with my parents because that's important for my life story. My parents, both born and raised in Japan. My dad was a Mormon convert, saw Mormon missionaries just on the subway and was intrigued and was what they call like a golden investigator and was converted within weeks.
He was converted in Japan?
In Japan.
Okay.
Started practicing Mormonism and then met my mom in university. They both went to I believe the Nagoya Art Institute. And he was an illustrator and she was a sculptor, and she converted as they were dating, and then they got married and then wanted to be in Utah where the hub of Mormons are, but immigrating to Canada is much easier than immigrating to the United States, so they moved to Toronto.
Okay.
Where I was born. I'm the last of 3 siblings, so I have 2 older brothers and an older sister.
And were your older siblings born in Japan?
So my oldest brother was born in Japan, and when he was just months old, that's when they moved to Canada. And then my 2 next siblings were born in Toronto, as well as I.
Okay.
What's funny is if anyone's been to Vancouver, they probably notice how many Asians there are in Vancouver. And I asked my dad, why didn't you land in Vancouver? And his response was both amusing and perplexing. He said, I wanted to be as far away from other Asians as possible.
Oh, really?
He moved to the other coast in Toronto because he knew that all the Asians, they land in Vancouver.
Right.
Just by geography.
Yeah, it's closer.
Yeah, of course. And I think that speaks to a number of things. I think that speaks to I think a lot of immigrants have this. There's some sort of immigrant shame where they try to shed, and I'm not speaking for all, but I think some immigrants try to shed their previous way of living or their previous cultures as much as possible. And that was certainly the case for my parents, or at least for my dad.
Sure.
He was very much interested and, dare I say, obsessed with Western culture, which fueled the drive to be in North America. After they landed in Toronto, they lived there for 10 years. I was born in the 9th year of that. I was only a year and a half old when they finally got clearance to immigrate to the United States.
Had they been trying that entire time to get to the United States?
The entire time. The ultimate goal was Utah.
10 years, wow.
When I was a year and a half, we moved to Utah, where I grew my entire life as a Canadian citizen. Obviously, have no recollection of living in Canada and being born in Canada.
Right.
Did grade school. My parents, they sent all of us to private school, which I have a whole slew of opinions around that.
That's pretty good for a sculptor and a graphic designer.
Yeah, I mean, so I think this still happens. When you immigrate to Canada, they look up what your profession is. If you're coming in as a foreign worker, they look up what your profession is, and they saw that he was an illustrator, and they were like, yep, we have a need for that here in Canada. He came without, well, maybe he did have a job. I'm not sure, but I don't think he had a job. My parents' immigration story is like a classic immigrant story. They came here without job, without an apartment, without anything. I think within the week, even less than a week time, he had a job. He had an apartment. I don't think he had a car, but he had everything he needed within a week.
Wow.
And I think it goes to show how much one can live with a career back then,
Sure. Yeah, totally.
much harder nowadays.
And was your mama a stay-at-home parent at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
So I grew up in Utah, lived in the Salt Lake Valley, had fairly normal and ideal childhood. I'll intertwine this with my working history. My very first job was like a student custodian at an elementary school.
Really?
Yeah, I was 14 years old. I feel like in my day, when I share how much I got paid, my very first job I got paid 425,
Oh, that was me too when I was working at McDonald's. I'm pretty sure it was four something. I think it was 4.25.
which was, I believe at the time, was minimum wage. Someone can fact check me. It was 1997.
Okay.
And I had that job for 2 years until I was able to drive when I was 16. And then I got a job as a cashier and sales rep at a store called Media Play, which is kind of like this corporate big box store. It's kind of like a Best Buy, but think of Best Buy with books and merchandise
Oh,
and less appliances.
okay.
They prided themselves on having books, music, and video.
Cool.
It was a fun job. I enjoyed working there, like many teens enjoy just media, movies, and music.
Of course.
And so I worked there for a couple of years.
When you were the custodian, when did you work as a custodian?
After school,
Okay.
there was like six of us.
Really?
And I think the setup was actually quite nice. We would come in and we would work for, I think, an hour and a half or 2 hours after school.
Okay.
I think it was like 3:30 to 5 every day after school. And it was at an elementary school. So elementary has very little extracurricular stuff. There was only teachers, probably like the third of the teachers were there.
Right.
And so what we would do is we would have a set of classrooms and our jobs were disinfecting, wiping down, clearing garbages, and vacuuming.
Okay.
And that would take us the hour and a half.
Cool.
Then I would still have the whole rest of the evening to do homework and hang out and whatnot. I thought it was a perfect entry for me to the workplace because it gave me responsibility. It was only an hour and a half to 2 hours of my time,
Right.
and it gave me responsibility, accountability, and it gave me minimum wage. So it was a perfect introduction to the workplace.
Nice. What about summers? Did you do summer work at the schools as well?
During the summers, we would work more.
Right.
We would help the head custodian do like rewaxing of floors. When I think about what we did then and the caretaking staff and we'll fast forward to later on to what I do now as a teacher, what I did as a 14-year-old, it's adults that do my job now, which is kind of crazy that they entrusted these young teens with this responsibility. And we got it done. May not have gotten it done as fast as the adults do now, but we re-waxed the gym floor, the hallway floors, like all the stuff that the caretaking staff at schools and facilities do now, we did.
Sure. That's cool. All right. So media play is where we left off.
So Media Play, I worked there for a couple of years. That was a fun job, just working as a cashier. And then I moved over to the sales floor and just helped customers find music. And I thoroughly enjoyed that one. It was a bump in my pay. I think when I left that job, I got like 7.25 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I started at like, forget what I started at. It was like either $5 or $6.
Nice.
2 years, I worked my way up there.
Yeah, one of my first jobs here in Lethbridge, I was making $8 an hour. At the time, I was like, holy smokes, this is the most I've ever made. Looking back now, I was like, that's hardly anything.
Isn't that bonkers?
Yeah,
Doesn't seem like it's that long ago,
right.
but I mean, now it's over 2 decades that I worked there. So I worked there from 16 to 18, 19. I worked there for 2.5, almost 3 years, I think. And then I went on a Mormon mission. I did a year of university before my mission.
Where did you go to university?
I started out at the University of Utah,
Okay, of
music education.
course.
came back and did music education there, and then transferred. And if anyone knows the dynamic between those two universities, I transferred to BYU, arch rival nemesis of the University of Utah. People often call their rivalry the Holy War. Much to the dismay of many of my peers at the University of Utah, I transferred to BYU,
Where did you go on your mission?
Carlsbad, California,
Oh, okay.
and then transferred to BYU. Dare I say, my education at BYU was much better.
Really?
Yeah, what was far better
Like music education or just broadly across the board?
across the board.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just full disclosure and picture, like I'm no longer a practicing Mormon now.
Okay.
I have many family members that are still practicing, and I respect their belief and their practice, but no longer practicing myself for
Right.
my own personal beliefs and values. However, that being said, I will ardently defend my education that I received at BYU.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a significant step up when I transferred over. After media play, I worked as a security guard. And after my mission, I worked as a security guard at a retirement community.
Uh-huh.
We would usually work the evening or the graveyard shifts. And I did that for a couple years. It's all a blur now. I think I did a year before my mission and a year after my, yes, I did,
At the same location?
at the same location. And my brother was the one who kind of hooked me up with that job because he was working there and brought me in. Our boss liked to hire by word of mouth, which was really great because that's the way that I got my foot in the door. So I worked there, did the 2-year mission, then was able to just walk right into that job again.
Right.
I remember working, my brother would work, or I worked the swing shift and he would work the graveyard shift or vice versa. It doesn't matter. We were handing the shift off to each other. And I remember him coming in and I was like, I just got approved for a mortgage. And I'm like, for how much? And it was like $350,000.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, how is that even possible? Because his job was our job working as a security guard, and we got paid like 750 an hour.
And that's a lot of money back then, because it's what, like 20 years ago?
It's still a lot of money now. It was,
I mean, in a lot of places, that's like the average home price. So,
it's true, it's true, but it was a lot of money.
right.
You could get yourself a decent home, a 2,500 square foot home for that much money back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, how is that possible? And it wasn't until the whole 2008 mortgage
Oh,
collapse that it all made sense.
right.
Oh, right. This is why our economy is crashing, is because the banks would just hand out mortgages willy-nilly to these workers who cannot afford a mortgage.
Yeah.
My brother did buy a house, but he had a career that could actually pay for it.
Okay. So when the crisis hit, he wasn't affected by it. He didn't lose his house.
I wasn't affected by it. He wasn't affected by it because we were still like minimum wage workers when the crisis happened, I was just graduating from university. It just goes to show how nuts our system is,
No doubt.
how everyone could have seen that coming for them to just being able to hand out these mortgages just willy-nilly to almost minimum wage workers like we were.
Well, it's just wild because earlier this week, I saw a graph in an article somewhere that was showing that the number of credit swaps on the market right now is accelerating. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, here we go again.
Right, right. Okay, so when I transferred to BYU, I quit that job and then I started working in the BYU library in the music and dance department.
Oh, okay.
Really great. I was a library desk clerk, just helping my peers or anyone, any of the patrons at the library just find items or mainly checking things out, which was super easy to do,
Cool.
returning things. And that was a very enjoyable job. My boss there, Myrna Layton, who I believe is still there, she's actually a Southern Alberta native. She's from Tabor. She was a fantastic boss. Actually, most of my bosses up until that point were all fantastic. And her and I, we correspond every once in a while.
Cool.
We still keep in touch. She's fantastic. That was a very nice student job to have while I was studying at BYU. During that time, I was like a student apprentice for the piano technicians. at BYU. And so I started learning how to tune and repair and regulate pianos while I was doing my undergrad there. Little did I know at that time how life-changing that job was because it gave me a skill set that I didn't know would carry with for the rest of my life.
Right. Not a lot of people can do that. So.
Not a lot of people can do that. And the model that they had at BYU was quite fantastic. They had two full-time piano technicians that were over all the campus pianos and the music department pianos. And for your listeners that don't know, BYU is a religious school. On Sundays, the campus would turn into church.
Oh,
The majority of the students at BYU are LDS, and they would also use the campus facilities to worship. There's no way they could house 35,000 or however many tens of thousands students to worship except for using the BYU facilities. So,
I wondered about that because I served my mission in the Utah Provo mission, and BYU
yeah,
was in our mission.
yeah,
At the time, they had like 18 stakes. Could be as many as 150 to 200 congregations.
yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure they don't have the buildings to house all those. And so I wondered about that. So that's interesting.
All my school congregations were on campus.
Okay.
And so with that comes all the pianos,
They didn't have portable keyboards.
no, acoustic pianos.
Wow.
I don't know if anyone ever noticed because this is so normal for Mormons to have just an acoustic piano in the lecture hall in pretty much any given large hall at BYU. So when I was there were over 400 acoustic
Hey.
pianos.
Wow.
And the two lead techs would be over all the high-end performance pianos and professor pianos. They would maintain those. They would spend half their time maintaining all the high-end pianos and then half their time training us student techs to maintain all like the other 300
Right.
plus pianos.
Hmm.
It was such a great setup because instead of them worrying about the 300 plus pianos, they would train us and we would maintain all those pianos while gaining this invaluable expertise on piano technology.
Right.
By the end of my time at BYU, I became a fully certified registered piano technician, which usually takes years and years for someone to get if they don't have formal training. If I were on my own, I don't know if I would still have that certification.
Was that just because the number of hours you're able to put in?
Yeah, the number of hours and their training.
Wow.
If they would have trained us just to tune and maintain those pianos, I wouldn't have received the certification. But they trained us to tune and maintain and do pretty much everything that they can do.
Right.
Most students receive their certification when they are graduated from BYU who do that program.
Right.
It was a fantastic setup, and I think they still continue to do that. As I was graduating, actually, my profs at BYU, they told me this job opening in McGrath, Alberta. And I'd never heard of McGrath, Alberta. So I like literally Google searched it, looked up the community and read about it and applied for the job and came up and interviewed. And the rest is history. I came up here and I got the job. I moved back up to Canada and the process was super easy because obviously I was still Canadian.
Right.
The irony is I hadn't been an American citizen yet. I hadn't received my citizenship. So as soon as I got the job, I applied for my US citizenship
Oh,
and got my US citizenship like 6 months later.
okay.
I transplanted up here to Southern Alberta, didn't know a soul, started working in McGrath as the band teacher out there, worked there for 10 years, and then a job opening came here at Lethbridge Collegiate Institute here in Lethbridge for the band teacher position and started working, got that job and have worked at LCI ever since for the last 8 years. So I've been teaching for 18 years, been tuning pianos as well. Started out very small and very slow, literally a handful of pianos a year. And my piano business has kind of grown. I don't know if it's a linear curve. It feels like it's kind of grown exponentially,
Oh,
especially in the last 4 or 5 years has really exploded. There are so few of us
right.
that there's always work to be done and there's always demand and always calls that I receive. So
Sure.
I service pianos. It could almost be a full-time job.
Oh, wow.
I don't do it full-time because I love teaching. Dare I say, I love teaching more. I feel like I have a pretty good thing going on at LCI with amazing students and amazing colleagues and amazing parents and parent support. And there's a really great community that I really appreciate and love at LCI around music. So I might be biased that I think LCI is a pretty great school. So
I think so. We've had two children go through there, and a third just about to start there. So
yeah,
I've been
yeah,
really pleased with it.
awesome. That's great to hear.
It's wild to think that you've been there for 8 years.
It's flown by fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like I was thrilled when I got the job, and it feels like it was just yesterday that I got that job because it was the band director before me, Ken Rogers, had set up such a great program. And so I had pretty big shoes to fill.
sure. Now, I understand that you are married and have children.
Yes,
Did you meet in Utah?
no, my wonderful wife, Lindy, we met here. Yeah, like I said, when I came to Southern Alberta, I didn't know a soul.
Okay.
Actually, I take that back. Myrna Layton, my boss at BYU,
Right.
I had so many questions for her. I had so many questions about immigration and getting my US citizenship and all that. But yeah, when I came up here, I really didn't know anyone.
Okay.
Just built a new friend group and met Lindy shortly after I moved up here. And then we have two kids, two daughters that are 13 and 11.
And the oldest one is going to LCI in September?
This one's going to LCI.
Wow,
Yeah.
that'll be interesting.
And
Did
yeah.
they like band?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
I think it was about a year ago that she was involved in the play in the middle school. And I picked her up from one of the practices after school and she was like, Dad, I think I like drama more than band. Awesome. Like you do not need to follow in my shadow at all. Like I'm so thrilled that you're finding your own path. Like great.
Yeah.
What can we do to support that?
At least it's band adjacent.
Well, even if it weren't, I like whatever. I'm just so glad she's finding her own stride. She's quite talented. I know this is my father bias showing, but she's a talented musician as well. She got the jazz award
Oh,
and award.
oh, right. Yeah, because I think I remember that because we went to the award ceremony because
Yeah,
one of our children got an award as well. So I think I
yeah.
remember that. That's cool.
So she got it for junior high.
What does she play?
She plays tuba.
Oh,
She played tuba in band and then the bass guitar in jazz band.
okay.
And I'm like, Eva, this isn't just me saying it because I'm your dad. Like, you are a talented player. You know that. And she's like, kind of the typical teenage response where like she doesn't want to show that she's kind of into it, but also kind of not into it.
She's trying to rebel.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I'm glad that she's found her stride in drama. She really loves drama and being on stage. And she was in the play and she did so great. She had one of the lead roles in there.
And LCI has a great drama program.
Yes, fantastic. So she'll fit right in.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm excited. How many parents out there have an opportunity to actually teach their own kid?
Yeah.
There's not that many.
Mary's going to teach one of our children in September, I
Oh,
believe.
that's great.
Yeah.
At the U of L.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. She was trying to avoid it. Well, actually, I think our child was trying to avoid it more, but it looks like they need to take the class and she's going to be the only one teaching it. So
Cool.
they don't really have much of a choice.
I'm relishing in it. Eva's in the early teens where it's just kind of hard to read, you know? It's just like, I don't know. I don't want to embarrass her because I know that's one of her main fears. I don't mean to at all. And it'll be interesting to see because we don't know what the dynamic is going to be in the classroom.
Of course.
We actually talk about it a bit. Like, are you going to call me dad or are you going to call me Mr. Yamamoto or Yam? Most of my students call me Yam. And she's like, I don't know. It was like, we'll cross all these bridges when we get there. It'll be really interesting. And then my other daughter, Addie, she's 11. She's going into grade 6, going into middle school
Oh, at Gilbert?
at Gilbert Patterson.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because our youngest is going into grade 6 at Gilbert as well.
Oh my gosh, cool. Yeah.
That's so funny because I remember when we took our second youngest to Gilbert to do the tour. I remember
Yeah.
running into you there
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Eva was
Yeah.
going there. So now doing it again.
Yep. Yep.
Huh, that's cool.
That's awesome. That's kind of a big overview of my journey that's brought me here to Southern Alberta at this point. Eva's a big city slicker. Whenever we go to like Calgary or we went to Vancouver earlier this year, she just loves, like, she just breathes in and thrives from the energy of a big city.
Yeah, yeah.
And she often brings up, like, are we ever going to move from Lethbridge? I'm like, sweetheart, no. Like, Lindy and I, we have our feet planted here.
Yeah.
As time goes on, like the roots get deeper and deeper.
Yeah, I totally get that. I empathize with Eva because Lethbridge is the smallest city I've ever lived in, not counting my
Yeah.
mission. And the plan was actually we came here to go to school. And once I would graduate, we moved back to Regina where I grew up, which is like twice the size of Lethbridge.
Yeah.
But I had to drop out of school and a lot of different things happened. And by the time I finished, we'd been here for 15 years and half of our children were already born and we were establishing roots. They had friends here and stuff. And it's like, we're just going to stay here.
Yeah. Yeah. It becomes easier and easier, especially as time goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Eva's gonna move to a big city. The writing's on the wall. She doesn't want to stay here in Lethbridge. But yeah, as time goes on, we are more planted here. Lindy, she's a school counselor.
Okay.
So she works out in Fort Macleod.
Oh,
And so we're really fortunate that we both have like school schedules. The summer's off and are able to just go stay at home and relax and also travel and camp.
actually, that brings up an interesting point. As a teacher, do you get paid 12 months of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
So our labor is for 10 months.
Well, mostly. I mean, you still do some course prep and stuff during the summer.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Touche. But the school division pays that labor out in
Okay.
12 even payments.
Just further to Eva's desires to move to a bigger city. Our second oldest moved to Winnipeg
Yeah.
3 years ago.
I was just in Winnipeg just a week ago.
Oh yeah, I remember because you posted a picture from the Forks inside that big mall or whatever. And
Yes.
I
Yeah.
commented on it and said that, yeah, that's a great place.
It is.
When we dropped them off 3 years ago, Mary and I went to the old spaghetti factory there.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, our first date was going to the old spaghetti factory in Gastown in Vancouver. And so we
Uh-huh.
kind of recreated that. So it's a really great place. I really like the fort.
Yeah. Winnipeg's such a lovely, lovely city. I think people bag on prairie cities like Winnipeg, and I was like, man, that place has charm.
Yeah, it does. When I took that same child on a road trip to Ottawa when they were 16 years old, we drove through Winnipeg because we went through Winnipeg and then down through the states, Michigan,
Uh-huh.
and then down that southern part of Ontario. We stayed overnight at a cousin's house in Winnipeg. And when we drove through downtown, it's like, wow, this is kind of a cool looking city. And he ended up moving there after
Yeah.
he got back from his mission, worked for a year, put a year of school in, and then transferred to the University of Winnipeg. So, but he's always putting in digs about trying to get us to move there.
I would move there. It's a great place.
It is. When the two of them got married, we went out there to celebrate their marriage about a year and a half ago. And it was a really nice place. We checked out a couple of
Yeah.
spots and things. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
really nice place.
Yeah. That brings us up to speed to the current day, teaching, piano tuning. Those are the things that keep me busy in terms of labor.
Cool.
I'm really fortunate to have pretty much two parallel careers that kind of complement each other, at least in terms of balance and everything. I am very busy trying to juggle both.
Sure.
Like yesterday, I tuned 5 pianos. Today, I have a day off and booked 2 more pianos yesterday. So there's always a demand for it. It's a steady demand that always comes in.
Sure. Do you teach any non-band courses?
I usually teach one semester of a core class.
Okay.
Last year, I taught LA9,
Oh,
which I apologize to all the students for. And then this upcoming semester, the admin learned their lesson, not to give me an LA class again. I usually teach Social 9. So I'm back to teaching Social 9, which is much more my jam.
cool.
The Social 9 curriculum, if anyone knows, is probably the driest curriculum,
Mm,
but I would argue one of the most important because it's all about Canadian governance
sure.
and understanding the Canadian structure and system. I really enjoy teaching it. because I think it's vital that these young kids know how they're affected by policy, by governance, which they are.
Have you received your class list yet?
No,
Okay.
I wonder if they've transferred it over. I asked them the last week of school if they have, and they're like, we haven't transferred the lists over yet.
Okay.
May have. So if I could log in and it might be there. I'm not sure.
So you're curious.
Yeah, if I teach any of your kids,
Yeah.
maybe. Fingers crossed.
Are your parents still working?
They're pretty much retired. Oh, no, they are retired. So one of the things that they did when they moved to Utah is they started their own small business
Oh.
being exchange student coordinators.
Oh, okay.
They would have schools and individuals contract them to do exchange student placements from Japan. My parents would take entire school groups and find host family placements in the Salt Lake Valley and create a whole program, an English learning program with English classes plus sightseeing throughout Utah, just create a whole curated experience for them. And they did that for a number of decades. And they would do that not only for large groups, but for individuals as well, in anywhere from like 2 weeks to years, these students would stay. So
Cool.
they've pretty much retired from that. What keeps my dad busy now is he takes like fine art and he recreates them, but changes the characters into cats.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
actually, so I have a coaster right here. This is one of his.
Oh,
I forget the original. Here's another one. This one's more recognizable.
oh, that's awesome.
So there's Starry Night, but you can see the shout out to the cat in the
Yeah,
in the night sky.
that's pretty cool. So listeners will have to check this out on the YouTube
Yeah,
version.
so you can find him on Instagram at Fine Feline Art.
Oh, okay.
He posts quite regularly. I'm quite proud and a little jealous that he has way more followers than me. He's quite successful in Asia.
Oh,
I think at any given time has multiple galleries up that his dealer does
really?
all across Asia. Yeah.
And does he go to visit any of them? Like for exhibit openings?
Especially at the very beginning, he would,
Right.
but I think it's so routine now that,
Yeah. I mean, it's new for everybody who's coming to see it, but it's the same thing for him each time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Does your mom do any sculpting still?
You know what's funny is I'd never seen her sculpt during my life. So, like, we would have sculptures of hers
Okay.
we did previously, like one or two around the house, but I don't think she'd ever done that. I think after university, she kind of called it quits. Unfortunately, like if anyone's familiar in the fine arts, that's kind of a common story in the fine arts.
Right.
People who go in the fine arts, they study and they invest their heart and soul into their practice and their art, and then find out that, oh, I now have to make a living.
Yeah.
I can't do it sculpting or drama or playing my instrument,
Yeah.
they have to find other work.
Hence why half of my drama classmates were also B.Ed majors too.
Yeah, yep. That's also a common route, which is the route that I took.
Okay.
And I was a late bloomer in band. I only started band in grade 10.
Really?
Yeah, most kids start in grade 6 band. I didn't start until grade 10.
Wow.
Okay, I'll backtrack even more. Like I started playing trombone because in the mid 90s, ska and punk music was huge.
Oh, okay.
Big band music was even playing on the radio as well.
Right.
And I was like, I want to be a part of that. So I picked up the trombone and I chose the trombone because that slide looked like so much fun.
Yeah.
And so I didn't tell my mom the motivation. I don't think it would have mattered, but I just told my mom, I was like, hey, can I learn how to play the trombone? What mom would not want their 14-year-old son to say, can I learn a musical instrument?
Sure.
She got me a trombone right away. We got lessons right away. And then I had been playing for about a year, and then I joined the high school band in grade 10.
Okay.
By grade 11, I was like, I love this. I think this is what I want to do.
That's cool.
And so I'm really lucky that I'm still on my plan A. I'm doing what I've wanted to do since I was about 16 years old.
Sure. Fun fact. When I was in, it might have been grade 10 actually. I was taking band class. Could have been grade 9, but it might have been grade 10.
What'd you play?
We were assigned instruments and I was assigned trombone.
Yes.
But I lasted only a week. I could not figure out the positions. I like having instruments where I can pluck a string at a certain
Yeah.
point, that note comes out. I can press a button
Yeah.
or plug a hole and a certain note comes out. I could not figure out the trombone. It is so
Yeah.
tricky. I mean, you've
Yeah.
been playing for years, so I'm sure you're just great at it, but I couldn't figure it out. So I switched to saxophone
Oh, nice.
because it's
Nice.
just like a recorder. It's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
fingering as a recorder. So
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's not uncommon with the trombone. Don't feel bad about that.
I thought it was gonna be pretty cool. I tried and I tried, but I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are your siblings doing for work?
My brother is an art director. My siblings still live in the States. My two brothers are still in Utah. My brother's an art director, and then my other brother, he's like a programmer or a data analyst. He does some sort of data information something for Tesla.
Oh, really?
I actually don't know.
Is he in Utah?
He's in Utah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, working for them.
Hmm.
And then I have a sister out in DC, and she's a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you grow up speaking Japanese
Yes. My parents spoke it at home
exclusively?
pretty much.
Okay. Cool.
Early on, I would respond in Japanese, but have since lost that. Even in my childhood, I switched from Japanese to English.
You can understand them, but it's just difficult to respond.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Earlier this week, someone spoke to me in Japanese, and I was like, awesome. Like I can respond in English. It was troubling to me how much, even in the last few years, how much I've lost because I could still understand him. He was like, "Oh, you can understand, but you can't speak it." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry."
My licks are deceiving.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah.
And did you grow up celebrating Japanese culture, like food and all that kind of stuff?
Food mainly, the culture and customs, not too much. Like going back to what I said earlier, like the immigrant shame, I think was real.
Right.
That's a term that my sister coined. I think it does apply to my parents. I think my dad just tried to shed as much Japanese culture as much as possible and tried to adopt and assimilate
Okay.
into Western culture as much as possible. And I think that certainly shows in all of us. And I think it also shows in us as kids. So my oldest brother, he can speak fluently in Japanese.
Right.
The language abilities amongst my siblings is just less and less. And then I'm the last
Because you're the youngest.
because I'm the youngest. And I think just culturally, at this point, you can't, no one would really be able to tell. But I think amongst us siblings, I'm the most westernized,
Right.
with my brother, of course, being a full fluent speaking Japanese immigrant, literally an immigrant from Japan. He's the most influenced by Japanese culture.
Sure. Did your parents try and get rid of their accents?
No,
Okay.
my mom has a very thick accent. My dad, he's got very good English.
My mom, her first language was French. She grew up in southwestern Saskatchewan. There was a very large French culture there. Didn't speak a lick of English until she was in grade 2, and English became mandatory in the public school system.
Mm.
So she had a pretty thick French accent, and she got
Mhm.
made fun of it by her sisters-in-law and worked really hard to get rid of it. You couldn't tell talking to her now.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's such a shame. I wish my parents, I mean, they created their own journey, but I wish they didn't feel a need to, or even a desire to have to assimilate so much.
sure. Yeah, my mom, she refused to speak French to us. So I never grew up speaking French.
Oh,
I could
yeah.
have, but well, I mean,
It's a
part of
shame.
it, she was 17 when I was born. When she met my stepdad and inherited his 3 children, she was 21 with 5 children, 5 and under. So
Jeez.
it just wasn't something that was a priority for her,
Right.
which is too bad. It would have been nice for me to be able to. So all the French I know is stuff I've learned in school. I
Yeah.
minored in French when I was in university, but I struggle with it. Reading French is pretty okay for me, and listening to French conversations isn't too bad if people are speaking relatively slow, but I struggle to speak French.
Yeah. I think on a larger scale, like, especially here in Canada, we have room, for people to not have to
Right.
assimilate
Yeah.
so much. I know it can be more laborious, like just thinking about your mom. She probably chose the thing, like it was probably a matter of survival for her, right?
She was young, right? She was technically still a teenager for when both of her children, her biological children, were born. And so, she was still in that mindset of being affected by what her peers thought.
Here's, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
On that note, a question that I ask since we've gone through your life journey that I ask all my guests is how has your intersections of marginalization ever influenced your experience as a worker?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't know if this is like a proper term, and my fellow Asian peers may deride me for saying this, but I consider myself a minority of privilege.
Model minority,
Yes, that's the term. Like I'm a visible minority, but when I go to the store, I'm never followed.
right?
No one ever suspects any ill if I'm ever walking down the street. No one ever clutches their pearls around me or locks their door. But I know that's not the same for other minorities. In a way, for me, sometimes being a minority, I know has given me advantage all the way up until applying for jobs. Actually, even now, if I think about it, there's not been a single job that I've applied for that I haven't gotten, that I've wanted.
Okay.
There have been other jobs that I've applied for, but if I didn't get it, it was like, you know. But if I've really wanted the job, every single job I've applied for, I've received.
Right.
And I don't know how much of that is influenced by my own maybe charisma or attributes, or how much that could be attributed to being a minority and helping out a workplace look better, or I don't know. I don't know.
Sure.
But I can't say that it certainly isn't a factor. You know, there has to be some play into that.
Especially as a band teacher, music teacher.
Yeah,
I mean, it wouldn't be surprised as like, oh, Japanese. Oh, he must know a lot about music.
that has come out actually more overtly in my piano tuning business
Oh,
because, I mean, just Yamamoto is just a syllable away from Yamaha,
right.
right?
I was just thinking that.
And so, I mean, my own business, I market my own last name as Yamamoto Piano Services, right? And so I don't call it Chinook Piano Services or Southern Alberta. You know, it's
Might as well.
the intersections are there for sure. It's very subtle when we're out and about, my wife and I, and she sees what are the tiny little race. It's not overtly racist, but it's
Oh, microaggressions.
microaggressions. Yeah, thank you. When she sees tiny little microaggressions, she's so awesome. It like pisses her off. And for me, I just kind of think it's funny. I think it's funny because I've gone through 4 decades of going through that, and where she's kind of experiencing it anew every time. The thing that happens to us the most is when we're out to dinner and it's just her and I. And this happens almost every single time, by the way. The server asks us if we're together or separate.
Really?
Yeah,
That's something that's never happened to us as far as I'm aware.
it happens almost every single time.
Wow.
And it pisses her off, and I just think it's funny. I think it's funny because, I've experienced this my whole life, but also it's like it's more of a display of them, you know.
Sure.
It has no reflection on us, but it's more of a mirror for them. But it aggravates her because she's like, we're clearly together. And I'm
Right.
like, yeah, for someone who grows up in Southern Alberta, they simply don't know.
Yeah.
For me personally, whenever I'm out and about, I haven't created a term for it yet, but every once in a while it's usually a young adult that has like a prolonged stare.
Oh,
They just look at me for a little bit longer. And I'm like, I'm the first Asian that they've seen in a long time.
really?
Yeah, 100%.
That's funny because like when we moved here, pretty much the only visible minorities were Japanese and Chinese,
Right.
people descended from immigrants. So that's really interesting.
And it's usually a dude. It's a guy that just has this prolonged stare, and I'm like, I don't say anything, but I usually just look back and I'm like, dude hasn't seen an Asian in a while.
Huh.
I think we're living in a better society now than we were 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Sure.
I think about 10 or 15 years ago, there was a big push about anti-bullying that was huge everywhere in education and in our schools. I think that was really effective because I think our kids in our schools nowadays, they still go through a lot. And I'm not discrediting that, but I think their experience is so much more well supported and easier than their peers before them that I've witnessed and even my experience.
We have more than one queer kid, and their experience in high school is completely different from my experience in high school.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know any other queer kids when I was going to high school.
Yeah.
I was so far in the closet, I didn't even know I was queer.
Yeah.
So far, out of a class of over 330 people, I'm aware of just two of us who identify as queer. And the other person didn't come out till like 5 years after graduating. He had a girlfriend in school.
Right.
Now, like, they have friend groups where everybody's openly queer and stuff. So they just support one another and stuff. There's still a lot of like homophobia and transphobia, but they have a
100%.
support group that they can hang out with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with you. There's all that stuff is still happening and it shouldn't happen, but students are so much well supported or better supported now,
Sure.
in my opinion.
Do your children identify as Japanese?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we instill that with them. Lindy and we let them know you're 100% Japanese and 100% Swedish. Lindy comes from Swedish descent.
Oh yeah, both sides.
Yeah, actually.
Oh really? Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Lots of fish then in your household.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts for listeners?
I didn't speak to the strike, the teacher's
Oh,
strike.
sure, yeah.
Personally, it was very hard. That strike, which happened early in the school year in October, it really sucked the wind out of my sails for
Mm,
the rest of the year.
really?
Yeah. And what was hard, dare I say, if you talk to almost any teacher, you would probably find the same pattern
Okay.
because almost any teacher that I talked to, when we would actually have a heart to heart, the same messaging came. As a profession, for better or worse, the teachers were very headstrong and we put up a very good front and a very good face because we have to every day for our students. We have to show up every day for our kids.
Right.
Underlying all that, to be so disrespected by our government was very demoralizing. Personally, it was very hard for me through this past year. And it was an interesting dichotomy because my day-to-day job, I thoroughly love. I wake up and I look forward to going to school.
Sure.
I look forward to being with my kids. They give me energy. Having that day to day coupled with this angst and anger and resentment that I had towards the bigger picture was a weird thing to juggle in my mind
Yeah.
this whole past year. I think in a lot of ways it would have been a lot easier to have it reversed if I didn't like my day-to-day job. Because then all that energy would have been able to be processed in the real moment.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, oh, like everything in the classroom and everything at school and minute to minute is all rosy and peaches. It's all great. The kids are doing really well. I have a great relationship with them. That would have been a lot easier if that wasn't going well, because then I would have been able to process that.
Yeah.
Having it rosy and peaches day to day, but then this blackness, blackness and horror at the government level. It was this weird dichotomy that I needed to process that I don't know if I've ever fully processed and I'm still processing day to day and will still continue to process
Yeah.
having just this sheer utter disrespect at a macro level and having such a lovely day-to-day experience at a micro level. It's a weird dichotomy for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
I think my respect for unionized workers has I already did have respect for them, for other unions and other workers, but having gone through that and having solidarity with fellow teachers and pretty much all on the same plane as them has really given me respect for other labor. I mean, the current thing going on in our province right now is the flight attendants. It's like more power to them, more power to all the workers out there who are fighting for rights and to just be more respected and to have fair compensation for their labor.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing how experiences like that can really change a person's perspective and develop within themselves that sense of appreciation and respect for people who have to go through similar issues with
Yeah.
their own employers.
Yep.
People are interested in following you and your work. Are there anywhere that they could do that? Social media, website, anything like that?
Social media on Instagram, Sam the Yam, Yamamoto Piano Services. If you need your piano serviced, I travel close and far. Website is samyam.ca.
Okay. And I will put all that into the podcast description as well.
Awesome.
If people want to follow the Alberta Worker, you can find us on most social media platforms. You can visit our website at abworker.ca. While you're there, you can sign up for our email newsletter. We have daily, weekly, and monthly options available. If you like this podcast episode, this interview with Sam, please rate and review the podcast. It helps us to show up in people's podcast feeds. If you want to support the Alberta Worker and this podcast, please go to albertaworker.ca/support. The podcast and the Alberta Worker depend on the generous contributions of listeners like you. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, please email us at podcast@albertaworker.ca or hit us up on social media. Thanks so much, Sam, for joining us today. Thanks for the listeners for tuning in. And as always, solidarity.